Star Labs. I'm just going to throw some thoughts out there. Star Labs means spatial, temporal, abstraction, representation laboratories. Very, very cool. So at the beginning of Star Labs, I was working on that art part, which was representation. So I was doing the whole work with physics and Butte Gaussians as a substrate for 4D world models. Did some amazing work, got some thermodynamics working, still extending that work. Got a paper um, to CVPR workshop. Really, really cool stuff. But something I was always thinking when I was working on that is that the bulk or the value of Star Labs work is really on that STA part, which is the spatial temporal abstraction part. Um, so now as Star Labs enters that part of their work as our work, I'm just really excited, right? Because we're still doing the work with the physics and Gaussians, still working on that as a substrate, trying to really build that unified substrate because it really does not exist. But at the same time, we're not moving on to our first world model. We're calling the Imagine world Imagine model for now. We might have to change it because I think there's another one called Imagine, but still, I think it's really awesome because now you actually get to investigate different architectures and see what's the best way to go about this. Right now, the core architecture really explores the graph neural network and seeing because really, the way I see world models is that world models, even both nature and our internal work models are relational in nature, inherently relational. So as such, the best architecture I can really think of that really does that is a graph neural network. And obviously there's ways to augment it, and give attention because everything in the graph neural network needs to attend to everything. But like the whole idea is exploring that. I think what's really interesting to me is my lack of knowledge. To be very frank, before this, I had another video where I was dogging on the Transformer. Not really, but still, I was talking about like is the Transformer the right backbone for such a work? Um, and the reason I was even saying all of these things is because I was really misunderstanding the Transformer. Because right now I'm reading a paper. It's attention all you need that debuted in 2017, which is crazy because 2027 is next year, 10 years since that paper. But still, I was looking at that paper and I misconfused the transformer with other regressive generation because like really for the whole paper they're really just the other regressive generation as the application of the transformer. So I was dogging out for like a whole video, but what I really meant is that I don't think the other regressive approach is the best approach for the warp model. Um, and even then, it's like I'm still looking at different approaches, and there's so many architectures. There's so much understanding you have to have. I don't think it no longer works where I can just like say, "Hey, ChatGPT, really explain this to me," but I actually have to investigate it myself. That's why I'm even now, for the past day and a half, I've been reading that whole "Is attention all you need" paper because I really want to understand the concept for myself. I really want to make sure it's hard encoded in my head, so I know how to test the ideas and explore them in this internal world model. Um, and man, it's just it's fun. It's also part of the research, so that's been good. But yeah, I think I'm still exploring. I think the graph neural network is a good start. I think attention is definitely going to be very useful. I don't think other aggressive generation is the approach to take. Uh, because that feels very sequential, right? It just feels very sequential. Um, so we'll see. We'll see. In terms of other stuff, Star Labs is also looking to expand, as I said yesterday, and that's actually going pretty well. I sent recruiting efforts or messages in a bunch of different places from LinkedIn to Twitter to different group chats I'm in. Got some people sending us emails through our contact form, which has been awesome. I need to now set up an automated workflow that automatically sends them the link to uh to uh to schedule a meeting, right? So that's gonna be good. But I also think, on that note, as I'm thinking about expanding our efforts and our research team and our team in general with the social media manager, I have to also think about the future of Star Labs in a much more structural way. Because I've just been thinking about it in terms of research, like what's the next thing with research? How are we going to go about this? What are the topics we're going to explore? Um, but then as there's people joining the team, we have to have money, right? That's just the truth of it. Like money to at least compensate people money to do our work because I this GPU on my laptop is no longer going to be working for the stuff we're doing. So grants is something we also have to be doing. I think that's what I was trying to explore a couple of weeks back, where I was saying, um, where like the downstream artifacts of our work because we have to be building stuff, or have to be investigating stuff people are actually interested in, like whether it be the government or other organizations. Um, so a lot of more structural thinking has to be done with Star Labs, which I'm very happy to do. I think I have a meeting Monday with the only other member of Star Labs right now. So we'll talk about the new people joining the team. We'll do like some interviews here and there, but also talk about structurally how do we want to move forward and how do we go about that. But man, it's a lot. I think it's like it's weird because on one hand, I'm trying to be a better researcher because I'm still even getting to this research thing. Like this is my second year of research, I think, and then I'm the PI of Star Labs. So like, how does that work? Another thing is like I'm also trying to run Star Labs because like I also am like the founder, the manager of Star Labs. So I have to make sure we actually do stuff, and we actually have ways to do stuff, and we can continue to do it in the future. And we can build this world model. Um, I'm doing that, but also even then, like I have to investigate because I'm primarily leading the research efforts. So like whether it's the work in physics of your Gaussians, understanding physics, getting into like thermodynamics, and figure out how to implement that properly in physics, and into Gaussian splatting, or whether it's not doing the architectures. And there's so much learning, and there's so much I don't know. And at times, it does feel terrifying, right? Like it's terrifying in the sense like, do I actually think I can learn all these things? But also, it's like very exciting because like these are the stuff I wanted to do for like a long time. Like attention is all you need. Is something I have to read like a couple years back, I just never did. I just like got ChatGPT summary, which served me at that time. But like now, as I go deeper and now as I actually explore different architectures for this work, now I have to actually step up a bit. Um, and it does feel rewarding, right? Like even like for the whole, I for like I think 3 hours, 4 hours, I was reading the whole attention is all you need, and I kid you not, I'm still on. I think I'm on section 3.2. I go like because obviously you have the general idea of like what transformer is, attention, all that multi-head attention or multi-head stuff and all that. You get the general idea, but to actually understand the core stuff in each like section and all that is something I'm trying to do to make sure I'm not just skimming over it, but where I can actually explain stuff, right? Um, and it's been good. It's been good because I think the ideas transfer over. Um, but yeah, I think it's an interesting time. And I'm just really excited. Still a bit worried about like my own capabilities, but I think as I embark on these different challenges, my capabilities just grow tremendously. Um, some other notes, social media manager. I talked about this before, but the whole thing with social media manager is that that's a very tricky role I'm actually looking for. I think a lot of the people who have expressed interest in joining Star Labs have been in that research space, which is awesome because more researchers, the easier it is, the more people I can talk to, and we can just go really, really fast and much more in depth and much more breadth. But in terms of social media, the whole idea is that we have research that we're currently doing that we want to actually push out there, not just to other researchers, but just to people who fund research, but also to just general audiences. Because one thing I really want to do with Star Labs is get people into research. I want to show people the process of even building your own research lab, right? I want to show people the process of even doing this work because most 99% of people do not know what Gaussian splatting is, right? That's just the truth. So just like exposing people to those ideas, I don't think it's done through the classical way of doing social media. Or just in terms of research. And now, as we're seeing, I know that we're seeing like different social media pages really explore being more unconventional and much more human focused, human centered, or not like just real, right? Not like like very professional or corporate. That's all good and dandy, but I don't think that's necessarily the style I'm looking for. I'm looking for a more tech ed, more anthropic style of communicating research ideas, and very few people I've seen have that skill, that portfolio, and it's really really hard. I think that's going to be a role that's hard to fill. I think it's a role that I want to get right once, right? Because it really does matter. I think also the researchers thing. That's something I'm also thinking about as well. Is because like part of me is like we're still so early on. I'm not paying anyone as of right now that I can really just onboard everyone and maybe it'll be good. But I don't think that's like from everything I've heard and like with a bit of thinking, I don't think that's the right approach. I do think you still have to vet people and have to see what their interests are. Is this something that really aligns with the work? Is this something where they're going to accelerate the work? Is it something where they're going to give more than they take? I really don't know. I really don't know. I think I still have to think about that. I think that's where a big challenge that like I know that's been upcoming for myself is really managing technical people. I've managed non-technical people for like a good chunk of my life at this point. But when it comes to managing technical people, I'm still new to that. I've been a project manager for two different teams. I think I've done a good job at certain times, a bad job at other times. Um, but now it's like now it's stepping up. So really, just trying to do that. I also have to kind of build a pipeline because I think a lot of the people who are onboarding are more so familiar with computer vision, AI, stuff like that. But like when it comes to the specifics of what we're doing, whether it's they're going to be working on the whole representation side of stuff or whether they're going to be working on the more architecture side of stuff, and actually going to put more people on the architecture. 'Cause I think less people are familiar with Gaussian spotting. I think it's just where I need more hands right now in terms of the architecture work. It's something it's something I have to think about, like building a pipeline just to get people up to speed and knowing what to read and all that. Something that's also really important, and that's also why I want social media. Because I think social media just gets this stuff done really easily. In fact, not only just for the people in our team, but just externally and just primes people. Um, but yeah, a really exciting time for Star Labs. I think I think something that's really interesting, just to be blunt, is that this is all real, right? Like I don't think it's like a fake idea, right? I don't think it's like a bad idea. It's like it's a very promising idea. Even the whole idea of the substrate. The more I work on it, the more I think about it, the more I see the people are doing similar stuff, and the more I see the gaps, the more I realize like that's actually like a really amazing idea and has really good applications. And then I think, okay, about the architecture, like these have really great downstream applications, right? And this is something that we've done. We the subject we've done it. We've built it, and it's been good. Even like this next model that I worked on, we can build it. It's not impossible. There's nothing that says, hey, you guys cannot do this, right? And it's just I think the more I haven't said the more real because it's not even it doesn't even feel like continuous. It feels like discrete. Like it feels fake or real, and it feels very real, right? Um, and that is like something I also have to like you can feel it a bit, right? Like in my hand, sometimes I can feel like when I say things, when I do things, those things matter in terms of the work we're doing. And it's like I don't know how to describe it properly in terms of I don't know. It's a new feeling. I would say that's interesting to explain. I don't think it halts me or accelerates me. I think it's just something you feel as you're doing. So getting used to that's another thing I'm trying to do. But yeah, more researchers, hopefully another social media manager. Hopefully figure out the architecture. With the architecture, just another note before I end off. What I'm really thinking right now is that the graph neural network is going to be the core of the work we're doing because graph neural networks are really, really just relational, really amazing stuff. And I think it's the best way to model nature. But with that, it's like how do you really manage that core the core more coarse details like something I really do see in the full world model we build is that you should be able to have both grand and minute and something I was thinking of just a couple hours ago is like what if to use a graph like let's say you instantiate a city instantiate the city of Chicago empty buildings just like the buildings themselves right and as you go more deep, you go into deeper into building, that's when you can instantiate or you can use a diffusion model to kind of create like this graph structure and explicit representation of the stuff within the building. And then you can keep on going deeper from there. Maybe that's something that could work. So it'll be a mix of like a graph, attention, diffusion models. Maybe that could work. Who knows, right? So I'm really loving the whole exploration of stuff. I think the next big thing for me to really do here is not just talk about them, but actually just test them because I can do that. I can hurry up and do that. So definitely testing them something I'm really excited to do and see where what shows promise. Also, as I go to SF next week, really just getting into these conversations and really seeing where people are leaning. I think research is becoming much more closed off, but the more conversations you have, the more you can see the signals and where people are heading, and then you can kind of get like some insights from that, like okay, why are people heading here, and you can get their reasoning and can see if it matches with anything you see, or maybe there's a gap they didn't see while they're doing their thing. Um, but yeah, that's all the thoughts I have literally about Star Labs. So besides that, I have nothing else to say. So have a great day.